Hello, everyone. How are you doing? Just getting set up here. I don't know what the video quality is for you. We've been looking back on some recorded ones, and I've seen this with StreamYard in general, other people's videos, where it seems like the quality that I'm showing on my end is maybe different than yours. So let me know how it is, and welcome. I'm excited to connect with you today. I have a really epic announcement that kind of surprises me that I'm going to be announcing this, but I am. I'm going to be letting you know what's been happening. We're kind of switching on the global stage. We're switching eras, right? We're leaving one era and entering another. And I've noticed that there's a lot of parallel processes. Yeah, a bit fuzzy here too. We'll have to figure that out because obviously I want you to be able to see me clearly. I think for now we'll just focus on the information. So welcome, say hello. If you're watching live, let me know who I'm saying hi to. If you're watching the replay, let me know. And if you are new to this space, let me know that too, so I can officially welcome you. So if you don't know, by the way, my name is Jennifer Longmore. I am the founder of the #1 Akashic Record training school in the world. And I get up to a lot of other crazy things, serial entrepreneurship and lots of private equity investments and various things. I am fascinated with the energy of money, but I'm really more fascinated with consciousness. And I've dedicated a good chunk of my life to elevating consciousness, whether it's business consciousness, body consciousness, wealth consciousness, ascension, various things like that. And by the way, let me know, because I think we have some shame in general in society around acknowledging that we're fascinated with money. I'm not fascinated with money because I'm going to be doing all kinds of crazy things. I just find it fascinating. I find how we relate to it fascinating. I find how it shows up fascinating. I find it fascinating the stories we project onto it, given that it's just a neutral energy. I remember being a kid and counting my dad's change in his change drawer. I didn't do anything with it. I didn't sneak some pennies off into my own piggy bank or anything like that. I just wanted to count it. I wanted to be in the energy of it. And I only found out in 2020 that elevating wealth consciousness is a massive part of my astrology blueprint, basically. Not that everything needs to be, not that needs to be a GPS for everything, but I find that interesting that a lot of what I've been involved in that made no sense. And the human part of me was judging it, saying, why am I being led to invest in real estate? Or why am I being led to invest in the stock market? I can see why, right? So I just find it fascinating. I know some people find the body fascinating, right? Like, why do we get sick? And why do we have miraculous healings? And why don't we? What are the conditions that need to be present to allow for more of what we want and less of what we don't want, for example? But I do know money is a big portal for change. And that's why I talk a lot about it. I'm not going to spend a great deal of time talking about that today, but anyways, I digress. So I'm making a big announcement. I'm going to make it in a few moments, but I wanted to let you know some of the ways that I'm navigating this end of an era stuff and how it's translating in my business right now, and even in my personal life, and then let you know how I can support you in making your next quantum leap. If that's something that you're interested in, I work with people that have a growth mindset. I work with people that are leaders. I work with people ideally that are compound leaders. I'm not someone that's very useful to people that are followers and bystanders in their life as a way of being. I mean, I'm not talking about those moments that we're in integration and, we're just kind of letting things settle for a bit. I'm talking about people who 90% of the time are bystanders and followers in their life. That's nothing wrong with that. That's just not my zone of genius. My zone of genius is quantum leaping and helping people do that at the speed of light and making sure that they can keep sustaining that, right? And that quantum leaping is fun, that it doesn't, leave you incapacitated for periods of time because it's traumatic, and it can be for many, right? It's a good thing, but it can feel traumatic. So you may have noticed then that I have a group called the Purpose Posse on Facebook, and it's been there since 2014. And you may not know the backstory. In fact, most people don't, because it was just an experiment I was trying out. And one of the businesses I wanted to create back then was almost like a resource-based website, not unlike astrology.com or numerology.com, where we have a variety of different expert contributors adding value all the time, right? Giving people their horoscope, giving people, but from a place of really being soulful, not being for entertainment, right? Having people provide energy sessions and readings and so on. And And then because it was just a fun thing and it wasn't really a priority, it kind of just was there for a period of time, just hanging out there. And I forgot why I initially started it. And then when I remembered, I thought, oh yeah, I'm going to start inviting people in. So it was originally just for anyone that wanted to be in community, for other people that were living their purpose and share ideas and build community and collaborate, and of course introduce people into how I can help them live their purpose. That's a big thing that the Akashic Records help with. And so I started bringing in other expert contributors, and I brought in a numerologist and a feng shui expert, and we've had a lot of iterations of experts over the years contributing, all of which I've been grateful for. And it's been a lot of fun to have that. And then a few years after that, I realized, oh yeah, like my zone of genius is really in supporting people who are spiritual entrepreneurs. A, because I'm woo. B, because entrepreneurs they tend to be willing to take more risks. They tend to, whether they come into it with a growth mindset or whether they cultivate that, there's a growth mindset that's required to be an entrepreneur, not a self-employed person, but an entrepreneur. And I like interesting people, right? I refer business to interesting people. I refer business to other leaders. I'm very protective of my Rolodex. I'm very protective of my clients. So I want to have people in my group that I can refer business to, right? I can't refer business to people that are running a cottage industry healing business for $500 a month and claiming to be a leader. It's not to say that they're a bad person. It's just to say that, like, how many people are you actually helping when you're making $500 a month, 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, that kind of thing. So I needed to curate the group again to make sure that people were there who were wanting to actually evolve their business, who were taking their business seriously. And you can have a lot of fun in business, as you know, but there's an element of taking it seriously as well and being an impeccable steward of it, right? And it grows to the degree that we have sound stewardship over it. More money can show up when we're a sound steward of it. More business can show up, et cetera, et cetera. And then probably over the last 6 months or so, I've been feeling a shift in the air. You might have been feeling it too. I don't mean in my spaces, but in your own world. There's something coming out of this 2-year thing that has allowed us to really remove the things that are not a contribution to us, or just things that we've outgrown. Maybe they were a contribution to us at one time and they're not any longer. And one of the things I did was finally bring together the methodology that I use, regardless of what I'm doing, whether I'm doing money work with people, business coaching, Akashic record work, or anything in between. There's a way that my brain works. It's a little bit forensic. I'm trained as a forensic investigator, so there's kind of a process that I go through in lasering in, cutting through all the caca, so to speak, and lasering in on what is the actual issue and how do we calibrate that to your highest timeline? How do we have your business calibrate to you? How do we have your money and your clients and so on calibrate to you, right? Because you're setting the tone, you're holding the vibration, and then allowing everything to come in and pull it in to resonate with that vibration and to then circulate that energy, basically. So I started developing my own methodology, which is called the Quantum Growth Method. It's not a new methodology. It's just I finally gave it words, right? But it was just this thing I was doing for the last 18 years full time in my company. And so I realized, well, the Purpose Posse, nothing wrong with that. It's just that the word doesn't really match where we're going, right? I really want to call in people that are eager to keep leaping and keep living in their zone of genius. The irony of elevating into our highest potential, into our zone of genius, into our highest timeline is that there's complete ease and flow there, right? We don't know how to do ease and flow. That's just the truth. We know how to do struggle. We know how to do survival. We know how to do hardship. We know how to do lack and limitation. We know how to keep pressing play on the repeat tapes, telling us how silly we are or how incapable we are, or any of those things. We want ease and flow, but we actually don't always know how to get it. Plus, society doesn't necessarily reward that. We tend to bond over struggle and hardship and so on. We tend to have misplaced loyalty with friends and family and colleagues and so on who want to bond over that. We don't want people to think we have it all. We want to have it all. And yet we don't want others to think we have it all. And so there's this conflict that's created, right? This resistance that's created in the conflict. So I'm calling people in who really want to rise, right? We've got a massive leadership deficit on this planet right now. And we have a high volume of bystanders, a high volume of bystanders. I believe that's in part, not entirely, but I believe that's in part why we're here and why things have allowed to get to this place on the planet, because we have been in arrested development. We've been allowing mom and dad, aka government, to take care of the big stuff, the environment, the taxes, the roads, the whatever. And we want to play happy families in our white picket fence in our homes, and feel like we're adulting because we're paying some bills and we're going to a job or running a business, right? We've been happy to have someone tell us that they're going to take care of the big things and take care of all these planetary issues while we sit back. I'm not saying you haven't been an advocate and you haven't been active. I'm talking about, again, the masses, the mass consciousness. So we have a massive bystander issue. That's one of the major issues on our planet. And a lot of people are happy to be bystanders in their life. You know, even if I think of my money program that I have, there's people that come in and lean right into that space. And there's others that just really want to have someone else do the heavy lifting for them. And that's just not how we move. So there's a certain type of person that's just more naturally wired to quantum leaping with ease than others. It doesn't mean it can't be learned, but it's a way of being in the world. And it's not something we can say we're going to do. It's through a series of actions. It's by willing to be stretched and so on. So I like to work with people that inspire me. I like to, of course, be inspiring to other people if I can. And I'd like to be able to refer business to people that are inspiring. So that's something that people have to kind of show me, right? It's not something they can just tell me. So we're at the end of an era in the Purpose Posse. It's now called the Quantum Growth Collective. Yay! Filled with amazing souls. And if you're not already a part of it, I'd love for you to join us over there. I'll put a link in the comments. So with that, I'm also having to look at, well, what am I offering through the company? How am I going to support people? So we've got some fun projects that we're working on this year. They're not necessarily gargantuan because we have a pretty clear mission, right? We're elevating consciousness and we're activating a lot of people to the wisdom of the Akashic Records and elevating consciousness and so on. But we are going to be releasing 2 Oracle decks this year, which I'm super excited about. One of them is a long-awaited, 18-year long-awaited Akashic Record deck. And then the other one will be a money deck. And who knows what else we'll be releasing as far as Oracle decks go in the coming years. We are going to be releasing a lot of guided meditations and so on, like basically physical or like digital products, I should say. And then we are also really getting into the physical product space. And I don't want to give away too much, but it's a new thing for me, right? I like to stretch myself. I like to learn how to do things. There are certain basic business principles that get us through, regardless of what type of business. But there are skills specific to a product-based business that are very different than a service-based business. So I'm excited to lean into that and stretch myself. It serves me to stretch myself. It serves my clients to stretch myself. And I share that just as a little tip as well, right? Because sometimes we can get comfortable. So it may be worthwhile if this resonates for you to look at, where are you stretching yourself? When was the last time you stretched yourself, right? And is it time to keep things in motion? So with that, I've had to get clear on, well, what is my zone of genius? Who am I really lit up to help, and who tends to come into my world? And so there's going to be 4 main portals that you can work with me to have things activated, right? There'll be a harmonic activation, essentially, when the harmonics of my soul and your soul come together in whatever space. It creates this really cool consciousness activation, basically, right? So the one place that I'll be keeping the doors open to is the 7-Figure Club Mastermind. It is a hybrid mastermind. That's the only place that you get one-on-one support with me. That is for people that are in impact-driven CEOs, mission-driven CEOs. They're not just about making money. Anyone can teach you how to make money, right? I can teach you how to do that too. But I want to know that you're doing good things in the world as well, and helping people, and that you're on a mission. So to qualify for that, it's $250K a year minimum to enter. We have people in there that are just hovering below the 7-figure mark, and then we have some multi 7-figure earners in there. And in there, of course, we we get a lot of activations and so on. There's a lot of quantum money frequencies that I've channeled in there. And then I also give investment advice and help people to figure out where they want to make their money. One of the biggest issues once you start making, let's say, $250K or a year or more, is that then it becomes, how do I live in the surplus? How do I allow myself to have more just because I can? And what do I do with that? And how do I allow that to compound? My growth stagnated when I was making 500K a year way back in the day. And I didn't know what the point of, continuing to allow more in. I forgot that the money I received was tied into the amount of lives I was changing. So there's some paradigm shifts. There's some divorcing of effort and impact that need to happen, or income, I should say. And there's just a lot of cool things in there. So you can imagine the level of consciousness and emotional and spiritual maturity and business acumen that's in that group is pretty high level. So I'm always committed to curating a really amazing group of people in there. And that might be something that speaks to you. And if it does, you can let me know either by private messaging me or leaving a note in the comments right here. Let me know you're interested. The second place is the Penthouse Mastermind. So that is a 6-month group program. It's hard to explain it, but I'm really helping you let energy do the heavy lifting for the majority of your business, right? The majority of why I'm here is because of the inner work that I've done, but also the energetic work I've done. I'm talking about really working with ascension technologies, learning how to become the vortex, learning how to collapse time and space to manifest things at the speed of light, learning how to really learn to rise and stay in my highest timeline, even if other people are triggered by that, right? I'm working through all of those things, but there's certain techniques that I use in my quantum growth methodology that allow us to really pull energy to us rather than being in that pushing. Because if we push things away, right? And we all know what that feels like. We all know what it feels like when people are pushing their agenda on us, instantly entering our inbox right after they've sent us a request to be connected, and giving us a laundry list of all the ways that they work. Part of why I'm sharing this too, by the way, is that it occurs to me, like I have people say to me, I didn't know you taught the Akashic Records. And of course, in my head, I think I've been doing this. It feels like my whole life. And I know I do it, but I forget other people don't. So another little tip for you today, if you haven't done it for a while, or a little nudge, I should say, is when was the last time you educated the marketplace on how you can help them, right? Like what you have available. Because we think that we're so memorable, right? Like everyone's going to remember what we do, but we're in a very information overloaded world right now. People are just going to forget. They might remember you, but they won't necessarily remember. And it's also hard for them to refer business to you. It's also hard for them to be tagging you on social media, for example, when someone says, hey, who do you know that does such and such, right? We want to be memorable enough. And part of that is in our control. So the Penthouse is a 6-month mastermind. It's for very wide awake and aware individuals. That's who I work with as well. Then we have the Embodied Wealth Academy. This is a 6-month program. It's really the only money program you'll ever need. We have all kinds of activations in there, energy clearings, and then of course, really practical guidance and ways to go deeper into understanding all of the big blocks, I'll say, around money, but then also the nuances and how to shift that. So people don't leave that program the same person. And if you're someone that's open to change, that might speak to you. And then the last program is my Akashic Record Mastery Program. It's basically like a hybrid consciousness mastermind, right? It's a lot of training for sure, really advanced techniques and how to move people, how to really move energy, move people, help people get the results they want, working with really profound ascension energies. In fact, the new Akashic Record Ascension technologies are only available in that program, along with the clearing for the pokey poo and for shedding and other things. And not available, by the way, for a debate about that. If you're on a different page, totally cool. It's going to be hard for you to be in my space if you're drinking the Kool-Aid that's passed on through the propaganda machines. So in that program, it's a 10-month program. We have a lot of distractor implant clearings and so on. But the point of that is basically to get like the equivalent of a PhD. Some people are lifelong learners. They love that stuff. And that tends to be who's drawn to that program. They want to keep learning, not because it gets them anywhere, but because they just love going deeper. And we go really deep really, really deep in that program. It's a 10-month program, as I mentioned. That's another program that people leave completely changed. And it's really about, of course, your own journey, but then how do you really quickly help your clients? It's really focused on compound leadership. How do I get my clients results? Knowing that if I keep getting my clients results on a very 3D level, that's only going to benefit my business. People don't do it for that reason, right? But that's one of the things. So it's designed to offer a lot of shortcuts into helping people get a lot of results and taking it from there. We also have advanced training in there on being trauma informed and really understanding not only what trauma looks like, how it plays itself out, but then how to clear it. So it's a very robust program. Those are kind of the 4 main ways to work with me this year, work with my company, I should say. And then the big announcement, I can't believe I was saying this. I almost pooped my pants when my guides told me I was doing this. I didn't expect to travel this year. I'm still not sure how I feel about how a lot of governments have handled things. They haven't been very protective of their citizens. They've actively screwed them over and have been in a mindset of, I'm just doing my job, which is just a fancy way of saying I'm looking out for number one. And there's nothing wrong with looking out for number one, but had people in positions of trust, like in law enforcement and medical establishments and so on, actually stood up for the people over these last 2 years, we would, of course, be in a very different place. So my willingness to travel is in part based on how I see other governments and other countries handling their people. Because if they're willing to stomp all over and care about a foreigner, right? So that was my mindset. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. It's just what my mindset was. But then the guides told me that I need to go to Sedona this year. And it turns out I ran a retreat in Sedona in September 2011. So that was 11 years ago. Sedona is a 22 vibration. And then we're in 2022, which I know adds to a 6 in some circles, but I do, as a numerologist, like to separate out the 22 as a master vibration. So Sedona is very good to me. It's very good to me. It's very good to anyone that comes and joins me in those spaces. It's been a long time since I've been there, and I didn't actually expect to even be called back. But the guides have shown me the work that we're going to do there. It's very, very powerful. We're going to be activating a lot of light grids. We're going to really be amplifying the transmutation of spell casting, amplifying the light grids. The ripple of it is going to create a mass awakening, way more than we've already seen, not to mention all kinds of other things, right? So I noticed Sedona quite well. I know the little spots, the in and out spots, and really cool places that we can be doing activations on the land and so on. All that to say that I'll be sending out something very soon to people that are interested. I know it's going to fill out very, very quickly. I'm not going to be creating a sales page for it. It's going to be invitation only for people that have a high level of spiritual and emotional IQ and know how to play nice in the sandbox with other women, basically, because I'm going to be hosting a business retreat there. So a 2.5-day business retreat where we're really going to harness the energies that are already available to us in the portal of Sedona and everything else that's going to be happening at that time to exponentialize your business and your client attraction and all of the things, helping you calibrate to this new era that we're in, this new business era, this new era that we have on the planet and so on. And then I'm also going to be doing a 5-day spiritual retreat. So there'll be an option to combine both, of course, at a special rate, or to sign up for one or the other. So if you are interested in coming to Sedona with me and the people that have already said yes, it's pretty much about 50% sold out with just a handful of people that I reached out to, then let me know in the comments and I'll make sure to put you on the list to send you information about that. And I hope to see you there. It's going to be really epic, of course, if you can't join us. And I understand that you can't because travel is not necessarily easy for everyone. I'm having to do a little bit of dancing, a little bit of creative travel planning, I guess you could say, to make that happen. But I live in the and also. And I know that everything is figure outable, so that's why I'm able to make this happen. But I understand it's not easy for everyone. And so if you're wanting to go and you can't, we'll definitely be there with you in spirit. And we may even put your name in some of the energy work that we're doing. You can let us know. So anyways, my friends, I hope this helped. As a friendly reminder, it's always great, and I have to get better at this too. This is why I'm saying this out loud, to constantly be letting people know how I can support them, how the companies can support them in creating what they want. And then figuring out how are you going to calibrate to this new era. If you think about anyone that's been in a relationship, a serious relationship, like they often say, if you're married and you get a divorce, that you need to wait 2 years before you start dating in order to really be in a solid emotional place. We also know that if you're about to date someone who's divorced or equivalent, right, that you're told that they should be out of that for 2 years before you consider dating. There's something to that 2-year cycle, because no matter how much we try to push through all of the emotions and the grief and various things, it's just not a process that can be rushed. There is something about a 2-year-ish mark, right, that seems to be really potent. And of course, we've been in this paradox, we'll call it, in this great awakening, the awareness of a great awakening for 2+ years, and so you probably come out of this a very different person. And are you checking in and making sure that everything that you're offering, even in your social circles and so on, is everything in alignment with where you see yourself going in this new era and what you're wanting to create and activate in this new era? Is there anything that needs to be amplified? Is there anything that needs to be shifted so that it can be resonant, or are there some things that need to be let go? So thanks for being here, my friends. I hope this helped. Let me know if you have any questions. I hope you have a fantastic weekend, and I'll see you very soon. Bye for now.